energy is pretty simple. We had almost a level playing field in the free market for energy up through about 1960. A few bumps, but mainly a free market. That meant that the government wasn't providing capital to make energy industries. They didn't build any power plants. But when you use fuel or you use electricity, almost all that you use comes from installations built at that period and before. Then they started putting controls on energy. My opponent was big against nuclear energy. He has been one of the principal people stopping our nuclear energy industry. So what happened was that the people who build energy installations decided they could see the United States was not a favorable place to build production facilities for energy. So they built them abroad. Now we import $400 billion worth of energy every year as a result. We should be exporting the stuff. Instead, we're importing it. That's our whole trade deficit. In nuclear energy, and please understand, I know a lot about energy. If I get this job, I shouldn't have responsibility for spending one penny deciding how energy shall be produced, and shouldn't support any law in which the government tells the energy sector how to operate. None. It has to be reasonable regulation, but that's not my job. The Atomic Energy Commission, for example, regulated our nuclear energy when it was being built, the plants we have. We never had a human death in a power plant accident. I mean, it just didn't happen, a nuclear power plant accident. So reasonable regulation, free market. Coal, oil, natural gas, solar, wind, hydroelectric, nuclear, all compete in the free market. The free market provides the capital, and you get what you need. But they can't do that today because they got the government all over their backs. Nuclear energy, as an example, the electricity not generated and the plants not built that our engineers and entrepreneurs intended to build has cost the American people $10 trillion. And the power from those plants, Palo Verde Nuclear Power Station was one of the last ones built. The power from that plant today is 1.65 cents a kilowatt hour, and that's 3 or 4 times less than you pay. If energy in this country was that cheap, we wouldn't have so many industries abroad. They deprived us of the greatest technological advance in the history of man. And today, the Chinese are planning, their plan, I think it's 2020, they're going to complete it, something like this. They're planning to build 1,000 new coal-fired plants and 132 nuclear power plants, and we get to compete with them with windmills. And windmills aren't practical. The indication? Can you find anybody in this country that's buying a windmill with his own money to go into the power business? Of course not. They're all being bought with tax money. And solar power? They opened the largest solar power plant ever built in the United States with government money in Florida a few months ago. Obama gives a grand speech. It's just what my opponent loves. That plant works. It makes $3 million worth of electricity a year and costs $150 million to build. So that's 50 years to pay back the capital, and the equipment isn't expected to last that long. It's a big taxpayer-financed billboard. But they have a different plan. Instead of letting the free market generate energy, which you could do easily, the idea is you tax and demonize these guys. Oil is bad, nuclear is bad, oh my. They demonize them so that you can tax them into the ground, take the taxes to Washington, and those great engineers and entrepreneurs, Pelosi, Reid, DeFazio, and Obama, will decide how our energy will be produced. It's just a bad joke. And they've really harmed the United States by cutting. That's why we have an energy problem. This is made in Washington. It wasn't made. And nuclear? Nuclear has one big thing the public asks about, recycling. No, not recycling. They ask about nuclear waste. France doesn't have this problem. They just recycle the fuel. However, they don't allow that. Now, President Bush, the second Bush, had one recycling plant working its way through the bureaucracy in hopes that we would have one. One of his first acts in office, Obama canceled the plant. Then he canceled the Yucca Mountain depository for nuclear fuel. And then he said, I'm going to loan a little money to the nuclear industry so they can build a couple of plants. With the current regulatory environment, it'll take 10 or 15 years to complete these things, and the only reason to do it is to get the public off his back and to be able to point those plants and say, see, they don't work. These people want to own everything we have, tell us everything to do, control every move we make, and give us what they think we deserve. This is socialism, and that's almost a polite word for it.